Welcome to Episodes from the Garage, the official, unofficial voice of the Elite Girls Rugby League. 12 teams from Connecticut to South Carolina and some of the best girls high school rugby in the States. Listen in for game recaps, stories, interviews, and more from in and around the EGRL. Episodes from the Garage is made possible with support from Basecamp 31, a New Jersey nonprofit that brings individuals and businesses together to invest in healthy community and personal development through shared human experience. And now, episode 11.
Episode 11. I love it.
I said we'd never make it past 10.
Yeah, see, we prove them wrong every time. Before we jump in, we talked just Basecamp right there, Mike, but I think we have a longer list of sponsors we should probably shine some light on as well.
We do, thankfully.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's amazing. So, there's I'll definitely read them out. There's some history there. We put out the call this year for sponsors because the league has been growing. And, of course, as you grow anything, there's expenses. And these fine organizations have all stepped up.
Yeah, people answered.
Yeah, so first and foremost, Best Logistics, which is a company in the Carolinas. They are going to be the title sponsor for RSS, Rugby Showcase South, which we'll talk about. So they stepped up big, and some connections there through Guilford College helped us get connected with them. So they were big. Rugby New Jersey, an event sponsor. Again, really, they've been an event sponsor for Rugby Showcase East, the one we hold in New Jersey each year. So they're back again this year to sponsor RSC, so we're happy to have that.
Thank you.
Our buddy Jeff at Steamroller Rugby Supply,
best.
Who is our official gear sponsor of the EGRL, has always played a big role in everything that we do and extends all sorts of support in lots of different domains. So thank you, Jeff, and thanks for being a believer in the league.
I think he's also the second part of the tag team of the most winningest coaches in EGRL history, if I'm not
True,
mistaken.
it's a fair point. That probably won't be brought up every single time.
No.
Yes, currently
Brian
undefeated
Melody.
in EGRL Selects history. Let's see. And then the league sponsors themselves. We put a call out this year to each team to try to raise some sponsorship for the league. And the first to get on board was Downingtown through their coach Oliver, who was able to work with his organization, which is Land Rover Jaguar of Westchester. So thank you to Oliver and Downingtown. The Wahinis Boosters, the Wando Wahinis Boosters, who jumped up from Wando, of course. The World Rugby Shop, which is Trevor from the World Rugby Shop, who is a coach at Raleigh Cobras, not officially part of the league, but will be at RSS. He is a part of World Rugby Shop, and they have sponsored on behalf of the Cardinals, which is kind of cool. They've sponsored on behalf of the Cardinals. The Main Street Cigar and Pipe Shop, which is there in Aberdeen on behalf of the North Bay Vikings. 4tags.com, which is a international organization making its way to North America, and on behalf of Morris. We also have the Corning Boosters, which have not made it onto the website yet, but will be there by the time this episode airs.
Thank you, Corning.
And then there's one more who I have not placed yet, and so I'm not going to mention it yet once we get who it is and what it's about. But we did get one more team. So each of those teams, we've challenged each team to find sponsors and support the league, and the number is growing, and we couldn't be more thankful for that.
That's an impressive list. Yeah. I mean, that's good stuff. And, I think we were kind of advertising that when we were down, getting a little ahead of myself during Showcase weekend this last weekend. It seems like a month ago already. But people actually tagged in on that and said, how do we show us where the link is to start, to start sponsoring you guys.
How do we donate?
Yeah. So thank you, folks. And, keep them coming. It makes things easier for us to make sure that we can get you the content that hopefully you're enjoying as much as we're enjoying putting it together.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. So again, episode 11, I think we have to kick this off on more of a somber moment. Unfortunately, we everybody here lost a really good friend recently. Jim King passed away suddenly just before this past tournament in Tampa, and it doesn't get any easier to talk about it than. We lost a really good man and a good family man and a supporter of youth rugby across the board, from club to EGRL to everything. I mean,
the original Sappy Dad.
The original Sappy Dad. So, yeah, I guess let's go around the room, and we're kind of going to do a nod to what are you wearing in respect for Jim and family?
I'm wearing the hoodie episodes from the garage. Sorry, I melded both my words there. The American word garage and the Irish word garage. So anyway, came through. So on the back of the shirt, it has the official definition of what a Sappy Dad is, and Jim actually created that. So
Yeah. So that's why we actually credit Jim as being the first Sappy Dad, because he came up with the definition.
Here.
He defined it. So that was actually on January 31st, 2023 at 10:18 a.m. I got a text with an image and had the definition that said, Sappy Dad, a rugby dad that will do anything for his daughter. Generally, the coolest dad in the group. And I was like, that is amazing, Jim. That belongs on a T-shirt. And he, of course, went where those things happen, right over to Production O'Brien, who figured out how to turn it into a T-shirt. Before we knew it, we had the official Sappy Dad gear. So here, Jim.
Here.
So I'm wearing the Selects T-shirt. Reagan was one of the on the first year Selects, and the second year. Unfortunately, she missed second year. But we're an FRU kid. I think everybody should go and buy a Sappy Dad shirt, get it, and wear it to anytime your team plays Doylestown.
Yeah, nice tribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice nod. I'm wearing the first generation episodes from the garage T-shirt that has Jim's quote on the back. Jim was I think Jim lived that definition, right? 2 hours to practice one way, 2 hours to practice home. Hey, how can I help? Yeah, I'll jump on a camera. Oh, you need me to load the truck and drive 21 hours to get to the event? Yeah, of course I'll do it. It's not those things that we'll miss. I think we're going to miss more the camaraderie and the love that he just showed for what we're doing here. And thank you, Jim.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good point. Jim and I think I would say we became friends over that exact conversation, right? Like it was like it became can you top this? Like, I had to drive my kid to, all the way up to Maine or this or that. And he would be like, yeah, I just got back from Vassar and I'm heading to this game. And we started to talk about that, and it was like, yeah, that's just because that's what you do. And, and I think that for me is the thing that I really loved about the guy was that, he took being a dad seriously.
Selfless.
It was like, like, this is my job in life and I'm going to do it well. And I just have a tremendous respect for that. So I am wearing, not so much looking back, but looking forward. I'm wearing the Army gear, my Army Dad's gear. And the reason why is because as if anyone needed a louder Mike Eisenhart on the sideline of an Army game, I will be upping my effort this year because I hope that I'll be there to cheer on Reagan. And although Jim wasn't a super loud guy on the sideline, he was a little more contemplative on the sideline, quietly spoke. I can't do it that way, so we're going to have to just deal with the mic version. But I will be there 100%, and I know there will be many others cheering on Reagan.
Has West Point ever banned a parent from going to a game?
Well,
gotta be
we all
getting
have to
close.
aspire to something, Dobbs, and there's a first for everything. So could be.
No, we'll try to have a chat with him.
It's exciting. We want to make sure we bring the energy. But yeah, no, the kid is very focused and serious. Wants to be get through Beast. When she first gets there, but also has told me that she's really hoping to push, get on the field, and so we're going to support her in any way we can. And of course, underneath that Army gear is the original EGRL T-shirt.
Nice.
And so, sort of under any great thing is another great thing.
We'll be together next weekend with the King family and extended family and friends celebrating Jim's life. And I suspect as through the tears, there'll, I'm sure, be some good stories. And I'm not necessarily sure saying looking forward to it is, but we will be there. And, we're, in the interim, we send our thoughts and prayers to the King family. God bless.
In addition, though, to those on the camera, and Jan Monrad now joining us, also in the Selects gear. But sometimes we don't mention the fact that behind the cameras, these guys have certainly played a role all along, but also in the position that Jim played for us as well sometimes. So I know Chris, Production O'Brien, going to pop in there.
Yep, thank you. Just wearing, this is the prototype shirt. They can hopefully pick me up, but this was the prototype shirt that Jim and I worked on a little over a year ago. So it became what you guys are able to put on now.
The original.
The
Yeah.
original. So
Very nice.
That's off to you, Jim.
And Primo.
Hey guys, how's everything? I want to say my condolences go out to the King's family. We love them, man.
Here. Here. So, transitioning from a pretty difficult segment into something a little bit lighter. We have
Wait. Before, can I say something?
Yeah.
Something just popped in my head.
It happens.
The girls at Selects did something which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Until later on in the day, they all taped either an ankle or their wrist and put King on there.
Yep.
And their cheer every day before and after every game was King.
Yeah, super cool.
And I it's a lot of respect from a lot of the girls who, some may not even know Reagan.
Yeah, no,
You know?
I'd say probably about a third, right?
Yeah.
Or at least don't know well.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really cool, and we had the conversation while we were down there. We wanted to let everybody know. Of course, the Doylestown kids knew some of the details, and but we just felt like it was important because Reagan was on the roster and was going to be part of the team again this year. But we also wanted to make sure that everybody understood the gravity of the situation, but also that Reagan's sort of heart was with us but couldn't be there. So, yeah,
And she was watching.
she was. She was texting me during the day. It's pretty cool.
It was amazing to see on the production. I was watching it throughout the day, and to see the girls kind of line up and show off their tribute to Jim was exceptional. And it certainly, I didn't have a dry eye. I was tearing up for sure by myself.
Steph was with you.
And texting you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's a reasonable segue into talking about that weekend, actually, where the EGRL select side went down to the USAR, that's USA Rugby Regional All Star weekend, or another turn of phrase which I really liked, the President's Cup, which colloquially I think has a nice ring to it as well. But EGRL takes a team down, a select side down for the second time, and has a pretty damn good weekend. Let's kick it off right there.
So I'd say a real good weekend. I was very happy with how it all
100%.
went. It's a lot. It's a lot to organize and a lot to get everybody there. And, it was ambitious on our part. We were taken from 12 different teams and trying to consolidate it into a roster of 23 to 25. We traveled with 25 excellent individuals, players who really are good in any which way they put the boots on. But the question always comes in with, can you take 25 really great individuals and turn them into one good team? And we didn't know that walking in the door. We had effectively one practice together, one day before our first game. And it started off kind of rough, a little sloppy.
Not good.
And so we were like, well, let's hope they can become a team. And they did. I mean, they came out in the first game and they really worked together. And I thought a nice way. It wasn't seamless right off the bat, but it was solid. And a certain level of respect and humility for each other, which is always key to forming that gel in that team.
Yeah.
And then just kind of started to play, and I thought there was a lot of really great things to take from it.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? I want to dial it back 1 second because I want to talk about kind of the selection process. There's a lot of work that goes into this, right? And let's talk a little bit about how that started and how we get to this team of 25 that we are privileged to bring down to this event. I think it bears conversation.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, we're in sort of like a stepwise progression with this whole thing, right? The ideal scenario for us is that we create regional teams that roll up to this kind of national team that we brought down. That's the ideal. But last year we had 6 weeks to plan. This year we had plenty of time to plan, but we still had to kind of create this organization with all three divisions.
Yeah.
So we did a hybrid this year with kind of identification camps. Each region had at least one camp where kids were, welcome to come out. It was open to all. And then we had coaches there that did the identification. From there, we also had a group play in the New York Sevens together, just to kind of see if they could play together. And
Great showing there.
Well, yeah, really solid showing, like we talked about last time. And then I think we had like 12 or 15 different people on the selection call. Dobbs and I sort of recuse ourselves from the actual selection.
Thank God.
We make some comments, we make some observations, but the idea of it is that the local coaches were going to coach these games, and so the local coaches were going to say their piece about these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we filled in the gaps because we maybe know the kids the best or whatever. But that became an hour and a half of discussing effectively 72 or 73 kids who had made the ID camps. Within that 72 or 73, I don't know. There's maybe you're going to take 25. There's maybe 7 to 10 that are standout kind
clear.
of players.
It's clear.
It's like, okay, these kids are at a level of play where they're sort of there. They should be selected. Some of them had already played once. They were seniors. Like they have all of the sort of check boxes lined up. And then there are some kids who are sort of on the other end who are just not ready yet. Maybe they're young, maybe they're still developing, and they're in that kind of like, you're just not there yet at this level.
Begs a little more discussion. Yeah,
and just we need some development or whatever. And then there's this group in the middle that's like any one of these kids could play. And so you have to start thinking about, well, what does this team need? And that's where it gets tricky, right? Because it's like you're taking individuals down, but you're trying to create a team.
Yeah.
Because you don't win with individuals, you win with the team.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. And so we spent about 90 minutes on the call, but eventually we got it down. I think we wound up with, 25 kids that got selected and about 5 alternates.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thankfully we did.
And I tell you what, I think what impressed me the most during that call was the pragmatic, clinical approach to this that tough selection piece of like, okay, player X brings 1, 2, 3, 4, but player Y is bringing a different dimension to the game. What does the group think? Yeah. And nobody from any side was like, well, this is my player and they got to play. It was like, totally see that. I'm taking my I'm taking my entrant off. I see what you're saying, and this is better for the total team. So I think in its progression, I think all the coaching staff that is involved understands the vision of what's trying to happen. Yeah. And in that, the EGRL is trying to put their best foot forward, and there's no sour grapes. There's no, it's like I said, very clinical. It's, who brings the most to the field that's going to add to that team, which was really impressive. Really impressive.
The one thing that impressed me with the coaches doing the selections, there were some kids that names came up, and I'm shaking my head going, the camp they were at, they did not look good. I don't know this kid. I've never seen him play before.
True.
And the coach is going, no, they had a bad camp. Trust us. And I know a couple of them, because I remember the names.
Yeah.
I will not say them.
No. Right.
Played lights out.
Yep.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah, we were better to have them there.
Oh, without a doubt.
Sure.
So listening to the other coaches and taking their word for it was a big thing.
Yeah, I think that's what,
Respect.
One of the things that I think the EGRL is becoming and evolving into, which I'm, ecstatic about and I think we all should be very proud of, is that it is creating that pathway forward, right?
Yeah.
It's taking a kid from the introductory level to the sport, like the brand new player who's never played before, and giving them a clear stepwise progression all the way to being seen by USA, and being able to put something out there that is worthy of a national team or a junior national team. And that's the design. And I think all the coaches, which I'm sure is not the case everywhere, but at least in this group so far, it's professionals. It's people who want to create a professional environment and build a platform. And that's awesome because that's what's happening. And it's not perfect and it's slow and steady and it might take us a little more time, but you can clearly see it starting to form.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that I took from the weekend that I was the most excited about is every one of those college scouts that I talked to, the USA scouts that were there, they said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you can see the level of the game just ratcheting up.
Yep.
And it's like, yep, that's exactly what we're here for.
And it's not just about the athleticism. I mean, they're all very, very good athletes, but it's also what these coaches want to see. They want to see good teammates and leadership on the field. And I could tell from
That's the full package.
Yeah, my point of view, I could see these kids. They truly were a team. There was a team walked out there. So they could have been from all these different places throughout the East Coast, but a team walked out on that field.
It was a big difference from a year ago too.
Yeah.
Last year, day one, they were all in their own little cliques and hanging out. They were even in the pool. They were all separate. Mm-hmm. After day one of games, they were all together in the pool and they were all buddies, and there was a big difference in the way they played.
Yeah.
This year, they were all together all the time right from the get-go, so which was good. You saw it.
Yeah, I think that's the stamp of year two, right? You've got some veterans on that team that know from different EGRL sides that have become friends, and I think those are the ones that kind of lead the charge to that cohesion that we saw this year, and I think that's only going to build from there, 100%. Yep. So let's talk a little bit about the weekend, and let's talk about the EGRL performance, which I thought was a marked step up from last year against some pretty heavy talent, in particular the Midwest Thunderbirds, aka Baby Birds, who should never be taken lightly.
No, I it's perfect. I mean, you're right on it. It was 3 games. Because of the weather, we wound up doing it all in one day, which is tricky to begin with.
Thank
you've
you,
got
Jenny.
we got some minute. Jenny was there, so it rained. So we had to do some juggling. With minutes, there's a 90-minute limit, so we can't have kids play more than 90 minutes on any one given day. Most people don't know that, but that's just kind of like a background rule that we had to deal with. So to get 3 games in, we wound up shrinking them to 40. We played Hawkeyes as the first game, and they were a good side. I mean, they
we had no idea what to expect.
we didn't know
out
what
of
to
them.
expect. We hadn't seen them before, hadn't played them before. We watched them the night before, but you're only catching what you can see.
Yeah.
And they had some very talented players, so we weren't quite sure how that was going to go, but it went in our favor. And I think we played well, and they had a couple of opportunities that didn't go their way, so it worked in our favor. So we were sort of like on a net positive in that game. And I think that really helped build some momentum.
Kind of like the Italy-France game today.
Oh, my gosh, Steph.
Yeah. I digress, though.
Somebody hugged that guy.
Thank you, pal.
But you're the one who
Not this guy.
You're the hugger.
He's the hugger. No, well said, Mike. And what I liked too about Friday night was that everybody showed up.
Yeah.
The sidelines were packed. The teams were out there, and they're getting a feel for what's going to happen, right? And that shows a level of engagement, right? They're like, yeah, okay, you could have gone downtown Tampa and had a great time. No,
Sure.
We're coming to watch to see what's going to unfold this weekend. So, yeah, that was. I think that kind of gave me certainly the feeling that we're in for some good rugby this weekend.
Yeah, the environment Friday night was awesome.
Yes, it was.
When I go back and talk with the coaches about next year, I'm probably going to push to put a couple of games on Friday night.
100%.
I really liked the Friday Saturday sort of setup.
Yeah.
And then we get free time on Saturday night for the team
Saturday
dinner and
night was a-
everything.
It's
It
not
was great.
always the best thing.
For you.
But it also
How dare
leaves you a
you,
little
sir.
bit of a buffer. If we do get bad weather, we could roll then into Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're not scrambling as much. But the Friday night.
Oh, that's a great idea. Have a little bit of leeway there. Yeah,
just a
absolutely.
little safety zone because
Yeah.
what we did find out down there's no turf fields anywhere in that part of the country. there are 2, and I contacted them both when we knew the rain was coming, and they basically were like, no.
Not a chance.
Thanks for emailing.
Mike who?
Yeah. So that was an automatic no. But the
EGRL
environment
who?
was.
There he is. Nice.
Anywho,
All right, let's get a little deeper into it. Let's talk about the first game.
Defense. Defense was good by us.
Absolutely.
And the whole reason was we didn't work on it at all.
yeah, the irony of that. Go ahead, talk about that a little bit because
So during our
best laid
practice,
plans.
our practice on Friday, and we got everybody together. We worked on everything, but the plan was, let's get these kids to the beach because the next couple days are going to be not such good weather.
Good idea.
We want to get the kids to the beach. We could work on some stuff on the beach. So the plan with the coaches was, all right, we'll work on defense and we'll do some more line-out work on the beach. Great. We get to the beach. Yeah, that went out the window.
Immediately.
Yeah. It was like, they all know how to play defense. We'll just let them go.
And it was like they were happy being together. And
Yeah.
you kind of see like you're getting some of that benefit of bonding.
Yeah.
And we all just sort of looked at each other and were like, we're not going to get another session in today. Just
No.
enjoy the beach, get back to the hotel for the jersey ceremony. And I actually think it worked out great.
Yeah, it did. They
Hats off.
were putting 2 on tackles. They were working together. They had great line speed.
Yes.
Yeah, it made me happy to watch them in that game on defense. That game on defense.
Yeah, that game on defense, we stifled the opponent. We definitely lost some of that energy in
Game
the
2.
other games, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The line speed forced errors. They forced the other team to make errors. That's
That's a textbook, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you can say it however many times, but you put somebody in someone else's face a second before they have the ball in their hands. That's hard to deal with.
Yeah,
and it was
it
hard
is.
to deal with.
You got to process all that information coming in. And then you've got a hot ball coming at you. It's not easy to hold it together.
Yeah.
So that's the idea of a good pressure defense. Offense, on the other hand, took a little bit of time to get on the front foot right in that first
Yeah.
game. But I think second game, definitely, I think offense came together.
Yeah.
A lot more opportunity there. Taking the ball at pace. Good pass off the back of the ruck. First receiver there at pace. Second receiver coming hot. Like that's what you want to see, right?
Yeah.
And in fairness, and hats off to this team. That's what Midwest makes you do because they are so tough on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
I mean, if you watch their their tempo on either side of it is just clinically good. You know,
Yeah.
it's like whether they're moving the ball at you or they're coming for it, it's, you know, they're all in step and they're moving at pace, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that we looked forward to going into this was that we felt like Midwest was the team to beat.
Yeah.
They won it last year. You know, we know they're a good side. We know they're well coached. They're organized. They've got good athletes. It's like, okay, so you know, we're going to get them in the last game. So the hope is we're building up to them, and it's going to be sort of hitting our peak at the right time. And they do. They force you to play well. And, of course, you know, you got slippery ball because it's wet weather and,
Yeah.
you know, all this other stuff. But one of the things that I really was happy with, and we lost it a little bit in the second game but kind of got back to it, was we're really trying to stress to these, you know, this team and through the league, like the shape of the attack.
Yes.
You know, trying to create something that is organized, a framework, but then play what you see. You know, kind of like you have to have the best of both worlds. And,
Yeah.
you know, we looked okay with that in game 1. I thought we got a little off track in game 2, but then we started to reform it in game 3. And
Yeah, game two
it was a
we
little
had
better.
no shape.
Yeah. The attacking shape in game 2 was a little bit chaotic.
Absolutely.
And that could have been for any number of reasons, but the bottom line is that they sort of recognized that and then tried to pull it back together in game 3, and I thought they did a good job.
Yeah.
I think we were saying that behind the mics is like, you know, if the EGRL game 1 team comes out, this is going to be a good game. If EGRL game 2 team comes out, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, I mean, if-
you know, in game 3 against Baby Birds.
Sure. You stop
Yeah.
and look at it. I mean, both of those two teams that were in that last game walked in without a point scored on them. Right? I mean, so I don't know what the Baby Birds scores were, but I know they scored several tries. So they probably had the attacking advantage on paper.
Yeah.
But we had put up 26 and 19, I think, you know, was in our games and no points against. So it's kind of like, all right, this should be a battle if both teams can defend. And
And it was.
it was. It was a great game.
Wow. I said it a handful of times with Brian, that this is probably one of the best games of not boys rugby, not girls rugby, high school rugby that I watched.
Yeah.
Like on both sides of the ball, defense on both sides to me was unbelievable. I don't know how many goal line stops we had during the game or like turnovers at the critical moments from either side. It was just like it was like one of these oh my God games. Yeah. It was really exciting to watch.
Yeah, that was the exact response. Garrett and I, so Garrett is the coach of Baby Birds, and he and I have been in contact organizing this thing. It was really originally his vision, this whole thing, and he's standing right next to me on their side of the half, you know. And as the final whistle blows, we both literally just look at each other and kind of did one of these "oh my God" looks, you know, because we were both like, "That was unbelievable."
Yeah.
Like, you know, and even though, of course, you know, they won and we wanted to, of course, and of course, hats off to them. It was a great victory. We both walked away going like, that was a heck of a game. like that is the kind of rugby, the brand and the effort that, I mean, and quite honestly, the courage. You had some courageous plays.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I won't start with shout-outs, but like there were some courageous moments on behalf of players. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and you mentioned something earlier too, Mike and Bill. I think you alluded to it as well, as like the weather down there, right? Now, when you get rain like that and the field gets a little mucky like that, you're supposed to play the ball in a little bit tighter. Both teams still played an expansive game,
Yeah.
and they moved that ball wide through the backfield. And I'm kind of watching this like this is so against the grain, but it's working. Like that's some skilled play out there to be able to do that. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, God, that was an exciting game.
Yeah, and there were a lot of scrums. There wasn't as many as I thought there was going to be with that
Yeah,
weather.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like my biggest worry going in because we did a little bit of scrum work, but we didn't get a lot in, like a full pack down or anything.
Sure.
And with Reagan not being there, we got
Yeah.
somebody new going to hooker because we had one hooker, but we didn't have a second.
Yep.
And scrums are solid.
They were.
I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah. The two things we didn't work on.
Yeah.
The two things we worked on the least.
We got to stop coaching them.
Got to start questioning what we're doing here.
Well, I think there's something to be said there too, right? It's like you're getting players who, without being disrespectful to the player pool that's out there, you're getting the cream of the crop, right? And these young women understand what is being asked of them, and they know how to put it together. And I think some of it was really evident in some of the decision making that was being made on the field. Like, it's the coach's job during the week at practice. It's the player, it's the captain's job and the pack leader to make sure that that kind of on-the-ball plays happening during the game. And you think about the pressure that's on these young athletes, and they still make the right decisions at the right time. I mean, you're working with a good crop of ruggers right there. You know, it's
without a doubt a luxury. You know, as a coach, you're sort of like,
it's a lot of fun.
every single one of these kids wants
I'll
to play,
bet.
knows how to play, studies the game, is trying to improve, is open to feedback, wants to develop. You know, working on things in the off season. Like, that's amazing. Who wouldn't want that?
And it's a testament to the coaches at every team in
right.
the EGRL.
Yeah.
It's a testament to EGRL as a whole, and it's a testament to the process. I mean, the process you guys put together in order to select these athletes and, again, teammates was exceptional, and it showed on the field. Yeah. It showed.
So any shout-outs from the weekend? I mean, I got a couple, but anything we want to call out?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
The coaches.
Okay.
Coaches from each game came down there. There was no nonsense. Everybody worked together. It was almost as if nobody wanted to take the lead because they didn't want to step on toes.
Right.
But everybody worked together. They made decisions on lineouts, on scrums, on with the forwards anyway.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the coaches. I think you guys did great.
Yeah, it's a great point. You know, so we talk a lot about the athletes and the development, the idea of bringing it back to your club and all of that. But, you know, I mean, we try to build this thing as big as we can so that as many coaches can be there too. And we had a huge staff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now put it in perspective.
Yeah, you and I weren't even coaching.
No, I mean, like, we coached it last year. We didn't really coach on the sideline. I mean, I walked around with a clipboard and make sure everybody's minutes were okay. You know, but like, bottom line is that this big of a staff, it could be a mess, right? You could be, it could be, you know, 10 egos, and so, you know, like, take on top of that the fact that each one of these coaches is financially committed. Like, in our best day, we could reimburse maybe half the costs for everybody to travel down.
Yeah.
There. You know, and like, I wish I could say, hey, everybody, like, I'm going to be able to like cover your costs. Like, no way, it's not even close. So these are people who are taking money out of their own pocket to be there as part of this, production staff included. It's like, you start to think about that and you realize the dedication that goes into it. I don't think anybody has any idea.
Yeah.
You know, like, I get to see it. I see all the numbers because I'm organizing it. But it's like, man, like, this is a big undertaking. And so your point is really valid. Like, people come down and hopefully they took something from it. They then take it back to their clubs, which goes to your point, Jan, which is like, now each local club has more to work on to get better. And it just raises, you know, all tides kind of thing. And
100%.
I think it's happening. I really do. I see it happening. The quality of the play is improving. And so, yeah, great point. I mean, it could have been a total ego fest, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Mutual respect. There's a lot of respect for each other. You could tell.
Yeah, and I think it kind of, you dial it back to the EGRL, right? The folks who want to be involved understand the mission.
Yeah.
And when you understand the mission, you act accordingly. And that's kind of what came out of that. It's like everybody's singing from the same hymnal at that point. And it's a testament to what EGRL is doing, a testament to each individual that's out there buying into the process and building it from there, for certain.
Yeah.
For certain.
Well, that's going to be the challenge, right? I mean, as we grow, that's where the real challenge is. You know, it's relatively easy to do that with 5 teams. It's challenging with 12, but doable. If we continue to grow, if we choose to continue to grow the league, that will be a key aspect of the whole thing.
Buying in.
Yeah.
Buying in, 100%.
But this whole tournament for next year, and even the next thing we're going to do, which we're not announcing yet, I don't think, which we really can't really.
Yeah.
But it's going to be different. We're going to be doing it,
Yeah.
growing towards a goal, and that's what we're going to get to.
Yeah,
The selects even.
I think we are probably we'll be ready by next year, right? We sort of looked at this last year and said it's going to take us 2 or 3 seasons to get that process really dialed in. But I think we're going to be close, and I think we'll
we're
see
not
it
far
this
off.
we'll see it this fall. I think,
couldn't agree
Stay
more.
tuned, but I think it's going to
Possibly
happen.
summer.
Maybe summer.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's starting in the summer for sure, with it coming to fruition in the fall. Yeah. So more to come there, folks. But you know, is there anything else we want to add from this great weekend? Or?
Other shout-outs?
Oh yes, pardon me.
I could say being at home watching it, the production level was better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of research of how to make it better was done in order to make it to the level of that the final product that you guys had. It was streaming rugby. It was well produced. It was the talent was obviously focused and engaged in every game.
The talent.
And then you know, Chris O'Brien behind the scenes did an excellent job. I think it was by far our best production. And we were commenting earlier today, watching a production by another company that was nowhere near as close to what you guys put together this past week. And I know we've had struggles in the past, you know, at different venues and stuff like that. But this one was premier.
Yeah.
Good job. And Primo with the camera
Field
work.
side camera, absolutely.
Yeah. You guys did a really great job. It actually, at home, I felt as though I was watching something, you know, that was professional, ESPN level.
That's awesome.
Type stuff.
That's pretty big words.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
that's great.
You know,
more like the Ocho, but that's all right.
or maybe the Ocho. Not ESPN 1 or 2. By
Right,
no
right.
means. Maybe 11.
The old
14.
11.
Yeah.
The Once.
Maybe 25. Maybe, I don't know.
The 150.
Was that Spanish, Primo? You let me know, all right?
That's great. Yeah, no, it's a great point and well pointed out. I mean, no one I think has any clue that there are 4 people running around like chickens with their heads cut off to pull this thing off when you're watching it at home.
And one big chicken.
Yeah, four people, one shouting and yelling.
The reddest person on the field.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
that's
includes
true.
players and coaches. He's still the reddest.
Well, he was very happy when he put the signal booster up, and I think we had the most available signal that we've ever had. I think we made it easier, but yeah, hats off to Chris. I mean, he's the does all the heavy lifting behind the scenes back there, and make sure that when the mic turns on, we're ready to go. The camera's up and we're going. You know, and Primo on the sideline cams and getting those other moments of the game that's super important, right? That Jen make it more exciting when you're watching it at home. Right? Yeah, for sure.
And again, and a testament to you and Brian for your engagement in the games. I mean, it helped build the excitement. Well done, guys. All overall.
Thanks, brother. Good
It
stuff.
almost feels like I'm sitting next to you.
Yeah. Who is this guy? Ask for his autograph.
Oh, Lord.
Please do.
Somebody
Lord,
take a
help
selfie
me.
with him. I get a free steak dinner if that happens.
God, that's not fair. That's not. You can't say that.
One of our 3 listeners won't count.
Well, I have too many shout-outs to mention, so I will say that I have a ton of players, you know, that I won't name by names because I could go up and down for a while, and we're not even on our second section of this podcast. So out of respect for the editor, I will just keep it at there were some very courageous moments where we needed a big turnover. And people going in and getting their hands on the ball, those are the kinds of moments that change a game.
Yeah.
And in that Baby Birds game, there was at least 2 or maybe 3 that stand out in my mind where
Big penalty moments.
Yeah,
Where it was like,
just
wow.
sees the ball for a split second,
Yeah.
goes in courageously, knows they're going to get popped as a result of it, still does it. We win ball. We're back in the game.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think that's a good way to frame it up, right? Instead of because there are a litany of names that we could cover that had
you could
great
literally-
moments. Yeah.
Go up and down the roster, every kid.
Yeah.
No, the kids played fantastic. And not only did they play fantastic, they were fantastic. Away from the field, on the field. Our team dinner, they made it fun for us.
Top-notch karaoke.
I am
my
going to
God.
say,
Thank God you're good rugby players.
thank God you're good rugby players because singing careers are not going to happen.
No. That was the most
But
tone deaf.
But very entertaining.
I mean, wow.
It was a show.
It was a show.
Very entertaining, though.
Oh, it was a lot of laughs for sure, for certain. But we were just talking right there about the background work that goes into us, and I think this is a great segue to get into building the platform and talking a little bit about our new partnership with Caffeine TV and what that's going to be able to do for us. So why don't we launch it there and talk a little bit about what we're doing with this this organization that I believe Chris found and should expand our viewership.
Yeah, so the backstory on it is Chris and Brian went to the Worker Conference this year and spoke with somebody from NCR, from National Collegiate Rugby. and just talking about production and kind of building, the various media platforms. Mm-hmm. This person said, "Hey, have you heard about Caffeine TV? We're on Caffeine TV." Long story short, what Caffeine TV is it's another media platform that really is focusing on amateur sports and specifically live streaming amateur sports. And so Chris got us in touch. We had a call with someone in their organization, actually someone in NCR, and then that person put us in touch with Caffeine. We wound up chatting with them, and it sounds like they are trying to build their rugby branding. They're trying to actually put amateur rugby in a bit more of a spotlight on this channel. And so, we said, yeah, we're happy to add content. It doesn't really change things all that much for us because instead of just pushing stuff to our YouTube channel, which we'll continue to do, especially now that we have over 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, people. That was huge. That's been our goal all along, to get over that 1,000 mark, and we are now at like 1050 or something like that.
All right, now our goal is 2,000.
Yep. We don't stop now. Right. But it doesn't pull us away from that. It just adds another channel.
Yeah.
And
another avenue.
Yeah, and the impression I get from Caffeine is that whereas they'll have full-length games on there, and certainly they want subscribers and people using their platform, they also are very big at making almost like highlight reels and clips that get in front of people. And so NCR has had really big exposure to the game because this channel takes bits and pieces and kind of connects it with other megaphones. And so instead of 1,000 people seeing amateur rugby, they're getting hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And so for us, that's really appealing because, again, our entire concept all along has been to build a platform for kids who want to play at that next level, whether that be college or whether that be, the U.S. sort of high-performance pathway or whatever that is, but, not to get lost at your local club where no one sees how good of an athlete you are. And it's like, okay, that's the whole reason we come together. Mm-hmm. And although it has its critics, and we'll tackle that another day, but the bottom line is that...
Oh, you mean by running all the other teams out?
We'll tackle that another day.
But I'm back.
It has its critics.
Thank you, Brian.
We'll tackle that another day. But yeah, so the idea, of course, though, is that when we build that platform, we're constantly looking for avenues to bump the content, build even more eyeballs on the sport.
Yeah.
And of course, our timeline is, as we've said from the beginning, because the World Cup is coming, and we want to put high-level athletes on that pitch, and we want the U.S. to be dominant or at minimum competitive.
At minimum, we want them to be in it.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Let's start with get there, but not just kind of like another group that's there to get beat up by the big nations, but to be in the mix, to be actually competitive for the title, and we think looking around that is possible. We have the athletes, but they need support, and so that's the idea.
And these type of platforms, they allow obviously family members and interested parties and other rugby players and rugby clubs to be able to watch these athletes play, no matter where they are in the country. But it also there may be a coach that can't make it to Tampa that weekend.
That's right,
and they will watch. They will watch, whether it's live or a replay. So.
Well, I know those coaches on our YouTube channel because I got a text from a coach to tell me they got somebody's name wrong from one of the teams, and I got it up to you guys over there.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's and we were asking for that, and you know what? Great point, Bill. We got to keep that coming, right? Because if we're not getting the names right during the live streams, please jump into the comments section because, and I'll say this for Brian and myself, is the last thing we want to do is misrepresent or butcher somebody's name and not get the prop, just not get the props that they deserve, right?
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
And it may be helpful. I know it's a lot on the coaches, but even the kids or the kids' parents can put together a little resume with a picture and then a little bit of information and hand it to the production staff because that will help a lot.
Jan, that's a great point. And we've standardized that process, and we're going to put the onus on the coaches for these events to make sure that you get that stuff to us ahead of time so that we can debrief on it, make sure we get pronunciations right, make sure we've got the jerseys right, and that we can deliver the best content that we can and shouting out to the right folks. So,
and like other broadcasters, they have maybe 30, maybe 40 people that they have to know. On these weekends, you guys, we're seeing 60 athletes sometimes, especially like at the
4 teams of 25.
Rugby Showcase. The Rugby Showcase is How many teams?
Yeah, 12, 14.
12 teams times 25. We have to know 25 times 12.
More math than I can do.
I'm not doing the
That's right.
math.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
like 1,000.
There's a reason why.
It's like
There's a
million
reason why
billion.
it might as well be.
Billion, zillion. Yeah, that's a
it
big
might
number.
it might as well be. There's a reason why I do what I do for a living. It's because it's not very math heavy.
It's not actuarial science.
No, it is not.
Oh man, good stuff. I think.
Production O'Brien coming in.
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, just because the timing is just right.
Yeah.
This is a big moment, Jan. Are you ready for this? This is big.
Can
I'm
you
ready.
handle this?
I'm ready.
I'm
You
a
better
little. I'm a little
give
nervous.
me that laptop.
It's,
Yeah,
a, good,
hand it
it's a
over.
good thing we
If
gave him the
Caffeine
hands-free
TV
mic.
crashes, it's Jan Monrad's fault.
All right, are you guys
so,
ready
so
for this?
Production
Ready.
O'Brien has handed us the laptop. He has everything queued up, of course, because
Hit the
that's
right
what he
button.
does. And all Jan is going to do is going to hit this live. We're going to start porting stuff over to Caffeine right now.
Awesome.
Jan,
And he's hovering over me.
He is
you
hovering.
See that,
He-
right?
he wants to make sure
he's
he's
gonna
gonna-
make
he's
sure I
gonna-
get
We're
it
worried about
right.
you
Rightly
doing this.
so.
he's going
All
to
right,
dive
I
on that
clicked it.
laptop.
I clicked it.
All right.
You
Do
might
I
have
click
to
it again?
No, you did it once. We're now live on Caffeine TV.
All right,
Oh,
Caffeine
awesome.
TV.
Caffeine.
Down
Good
there.
job.
Hey,
Hey,
all right.
Hey,
Man,
I
screw
feel
it up.
really good being a part of that.
Jan,
You know,
it's important work.
that was.
See, it's important when you stay at home and
yeah.
watch on TV.
That was
You have to do that more often.
so exciting.
That was so exciting.
So, okay, another great segue from Caffeine TV, which we'll be partnering with going into the upcoming Guilford event, which
Yeah.
is less than a month away for us.
It's going to be here. It's going to
Yeah.
be here before we know it.
Coming quick.
It's going to be good. I mean, so again, as always, I think hopefully we've mentioned it every time, but Christine, Coach Christine down at Guilford, has been a huge part
Newcomb.
of this. Christine Newcomb at Guilford has really helped us
She
from
was a good
day
interview
one.
in
She was great.
Sevens, New
She was
York.
great. Yeah.
Yep. So she's been helping us plan this event, and ultimately, what we wanted to do was have a second showcase. But we want to do something in the South. A lot of the Southern teams can't come up in June because their school years end before the kids in the North, and it just becomes a scheduling nightmare. And so many of them are sort of done for the year before we even have our showcase event. And so it was like, we need something down there. In addition, we really wanted the Southern teams to play the Northern teams. And so the thought was, well, if we go early in the season, the Northern teams would love to be out playing, but like our fields aren't ready. Things are under snow. We've got, cold weather still. So this creates that event where we can go down and sort of work with each other, play each other, have it be a friendly. It also will be the Southern Division games, the divisional games.
Okay.
So those will count.
Yeah.
But everything else is just kind of a friendly like we did
Knock
last
the
year.
rust off, kind of. Yeah.
And so far, I mean, it's looking good. I think we've got, I think we have 12 teams that are scheduled.
Wow.
Of which 9 are EGRL divisional teams. And then 3 will be in that emerging category, which is Hudson Catholic coming down.
Awesome.
From New Jersey, a New Jersey team from New Jersey. And then let's see.
We didn't run them out.
That didn't get run
See
out.
what you did there.
And then in addition to Hudson Catholic, we're going to have Raleigh Cobras. So Raleigh has 2 teams. Raleigh, sorry,
It's
Jan,
Raleigh.
sorry.
Rally.
It's
How does Brian say it?
Rally.
Raleigh. No. Raleigh.
Rally.
Rally.
No, it is. It is. No.
Oh, you're
Raleigh.
messing this up.
Raleigh.
Now
He
you're
says
floundering.
rally.
Rally.
All right, so Raleigh, North Carolina will have 2. They have 2 teams. The Cobras, which is one of the 2 teams, will be in that emerging bracket, so they're going to join on. And then the Atlanta Valkyries coming up from the north. We got kind of
Nice.
a final, like late minute. Yep, we're going to be there, sort of thing. This past week, so they're coming up.
Thank you, Canada.
That'll make 3 teams in the emerging bracket. But it should be a really nice event, and I think a lot of the Southern collegiate programs will be there to scout.
Awesome.
Christine has already set up like tours at the local school, and including a dinner, an optional dinner for any of the recruitable athletes. So yeah, it should be a great event. And her assistant coach got us a sponsor in Best Logistics. I mean, it's just, this is how it's supposed to work. It's like we're going to bring the teams, we're going to get the group together, but she's doing all this support on the ground, and
Fantastic.
yeah, we couldn't be more thankful for that.
And it shows the buy-in of the college.
Yeah.
Guilford College buying into this overall process and overall, I don't know what the best way to put it is you guys, it's an overall theme of getting these kids into dead air Monrad. Who invited that guy?
Oh, God, we miss Brian.
No, I'm sorry.
Just
Find
start
my
from the
words.
beginning.
Find my words.
Use your words.
It shows. It shows that these colleges.
Wait, I'm going to get Brian.
No, I get what you're saying, Jan. It's commitment.
It
man.
shows
It's-
that these
yeah.
colleges are
There's
buying
value.
into
Yeah.
what the overall goal is of the EGRL and everybody here and the Sappy Dads and everybody to have these kids see colleges and have colleges see them.
Right. 100%.
And that's the most important part.
Agree.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? Is get them to the next level, improve the game, get them to the next level, and to Mike's point earlier, make sure that we have the best possible athletes ready for USA Rugby to field the side that we need to go out and be competitive, and at some point in time, really maybe even bring it home.
That's what I'm talking about.
330 million people, we got to have something out there, right? Good Lord.
Wait, I'm asking one question.
Yes.
I've asked this before.
Oh.
But this one we're doing on the podcast because this way I can't be lied to. We're not lining fields.
No, we're not.
Thank God.
No, that's being handled locally. So one of the cool things that I want to make sure I get all the details right. So I'll mention it here, but I'll probably recap it when we get down there. But Guilford has actually come up with some sort of grant money for other local clubs, right? Like this speaks a lot to the emerging concept, right? So we've tried to build this emerging thing to bring in those grassroots level clubs at the EGRL. We know not everyone has 15 to 25 players. We know not everyone can play 15s. We want those teams that do to continue to have a platform to go forward.
Yes.
But we also know that there are others who aspire to that, and we want to pull them in. So we're not trying to box anybody out. We're also not trying to sort of create a low ceiling. So you kind of have to do both. Well, Guilford has picked up on this, and they've done the same basic thing. They reached out to all the local clubs who are just clubs. They're a varsity program. They have lots of support from their college. But these other clubs don't. And they said, listen, why don't you come in and help with this event? Line the fields, be the ARs, put out the technical zones, and we will give a grant to your clubs to help, on your needs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was like,
great.
man, that is so cool. She said, hey, do you think that's okay?
It's so forward thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, she was like, hey, would that be okay if
Yeah.
I invite these other clubs? And I was like, okay, it's amazing. Like, bring them in. That's awesome. So, yeah. So you're right, Jan. Everybody's starting to not everybody. Most people are starting to get this vision. And I think that when you do and you really look at it and analyze it, it's good. And it's working.
Well, the other college coaches that are going to show up at Guilford are going to approach, well, how do I get my college
Heck yeah.
involved in this?
Yeah.
They're going to see that model. Guilford is putting that model forward, and now these other colleges are going to say, hey, how do I get this? How can I do this? It's very important.
100%. And I think, I think Christine Newcomb is doing a lot of work there, but I also think, or I should say, and she's got the support of the institution, which is super cool because, listen, we've all seen it before. You've got a great rugby program, but no support from the school. And it makes it really difficult for
we
things
wouldn't know
that-
anything about
nothing,
that.
Nothing. I'm speaking hearsay, but it's
I wasn't just I wasn't just dealing with this last week
right.
at a local place that has great athletes but no support.
Shall remain nameless. But anyway, that it's great that basically, Christine has a partner at the school that is embracing what she's doing locally with just rugby as a community. So more of that to come, I hope. We all hope, I think. And any final thoughts on the Guilford tournament other than can't wait to get down there?
Yeah, no, nothing really. I mean, it's going to be great. And because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it. It's like, no, you can't have anything but a win. It's not going to be perfect. I'm sure we'll come into glitches and there'll be, little fumblings and stumblings, but like, who cares? It's another major girls high school level event.
Yes.
In a different part of the country, and it's going to set the standard for even more, which is awesome.
Right.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, the more the game improves, the happier everybody is, right? I mean, that's really at the core of what we're doing here. So
It improves and expands.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so anywho, last topic, Regional Showcase East, portal open soon for registration teams out there. So that's, what is it, second weekend in June, Mike, out at Bunt Park, thanks to your partnership with Clinton Township and the Parks and Rec Department out there.
Yeah, June 8th, 9th. We'll be back again for, what is this, our fourth Fourth annual.
It'll be the fourth.
This will be four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fourth annual Rugby Showcase East, which was formerly Mars. And yeah, we're going to open up registration. This year has been super cool already because we haven't opened up registration, and I think we're almost full. Like
Wow.
we had people reaching out to
Wow.
us saying, "Hey, we really want to put a team in this year. Are you going to do it again? Can you open us? Include us? Can you open the portal soon?" When I counted, I think earlier today, it was like there's 12 solid, with 2 that are sort of high potential, which would be 14. And
Wow.
honestly, we think that we have to cap it at 16. So
For now, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think realistically, 16.
Or we need a bigger
teams-
boat.
Yeah, or we can go find a new venue.
need
But
a
like,
bigger boat.
but like for the most part, like that's amazing. Now
Yeah,
we do have
we need
room
this venue.
for middle schools. So we do have that third field a little bit smaller. We could put a middle schools bracket in, so that's going to be an open call like we do every year. Like,
Sure.
look, if you have middle school teams and you want them to come in and play, like we will have a sevens event that goes with it. We're happy to have you. But the primary focus on this is the high school and the recruiting
Yes.
aspects of it. So yeah, 12 we think are solid. 14 are high likely. 16's kind of the sweet spot because it all works evenly. We would go bigger if we had to, but
We could always do the Friday too if we had
it's
to.
true. It's true. And there was some talk about that, but as of this year, 4th annual will be Saturday, Sunday, June 8th, 9th, in Clinton Township again, and
At Bunt Park.
at Bunt Park.
And I was very disappointed that there was no cake at any of these events. The name is deceiving.
The donut guy.
The Bunt cake.
Guess what he does for a living?
Nothing Bunt rugby.
But there we go.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, hit it.
I don't know what button it is.
is.
There we go.
And now I had.
There it is. And now I had tip the Jan.
I do like cake.
Okay. So that's pretty much wrapping up the content here today. We normally end it with our shout outs, but I think more apropos for this one is to, just let, as a group and then individually, let the King family know that we're thinking about them in these difficult times. And we'll see you next weekend. God bless. Turn it over to you guys.
I got nothing.
All right.
I wasn't in the beginning, but I can say this, that he was a sappy dad, but he was also a very proud dad. He was proud of his family, proud of his kids, and
Hear.
and proud of Regan. And I think that he's definitely going to be missed. He is definitely going to be missed by us, and wishing them all the best.
Here.
Absolutely. I think you said it great. Nothing to add.
All right. Well, Jim, we love you, and we'll wrap it up there. More to come.
Thank you for listening to episodes from the Garage, the official, unofficial voice of the Elite Girls Rugby League. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Elite Girls Rugby League and follow us on Instagram and Caffeine.tv at Elite Girls Rugby. Special thanks to our producers, Team O'Brien, Bravo, our official production dog, Brian Ahern, Steamroller Rugby Supply, Best Logistics, Rugby New Jersey, Jaguar Land Rover of Westchester, Wanda Wahini's Boosters, World Rugby Shop, Main Street Cigar and Pipe, FourTags.com, Proactivity, and the Corning Boosters. And of course, sending love to the King family.
I am Iron Man.
Episodes from the Garage, episode 11, take 6.
Hey.